So let's discuss about convolutional neural networks. So what exactly this convolutional neural network is? Let's discuss about like what actually is convolution, and then we'll go forward and discussing what they are like when you use it in neural networks and all. So basically, what convolution will do is like previously we have seen an image like where we have flattened the pixel values and made it as a long matrix, right? And that long matrix, what we did is like for that matrix we have made it as each one as a different cell, and then given this as input, and then like for each input we have processed, right? So separately. So but this doesn't contain the adjacent cell information, like means like the relation between like few different cells. Okay, so you can see this as a car by only looking at the surrounding pixels, right? If you don't see the surrounding pixels, you can't differentiate if it is a car or not. Okay, similarly, just that in case if I give you some dots like this, okay, like treat that like where there are blanks or zeros. So if I give some vector like this, is it easily identifiable that this is a car? Or if I give something like this and then give like this, is this easily differentiable that this is a car? This one, right? So actually what we need to do is, so we need to capture the information like of surrounding pixels as well. Okay, so for that we have to do some different kind of operation. So like convolution is one such kind. Okay, so what convolution like convolution operation will do is, so let's say this is your image. Okay, in that image like temp, right? Like if you take the whole image, like we can't actually do that, right? Because like if it is entire image and if you take only one uh, in a single convolution, like what you'll get, like you actually have to pass the entire image. Instead, what they try to do is like they try to take a box like for processing, like we call this as a filter. So just like how this the same concept like how where we used it earlier, right? So where to do edge detection and blurring and apply some other filter like change the pixel values. So for that again, like it's a similar concept here. So where we take a window, and this window, like what we do is we'll move across image, like entire image, and then do a computation. So this window actually is another matrix. So let me take it in matrix form. Let's say 2 1 3. Just let's read some random numbers. Okay, okay, and this is a matrix here, and similarly your image is also pixels, right? So I am giving an example in terms of image because we can easily relate, but this can be applicable even for any kind of data. Okay, so where you can get where you need a spatial information, like then you can use this convolution layer. Okay, so what this will do is this also has like this image also has some values over, right? So some 10 20 255, like this one, like in terms of like 0 to 255, you again have some values for each of these pixel, right? So these pixel values, like it will take, and then this is again one matrix of like this will contain some values, again a 3 by 3 matrix, and this is treat this is also a 3 by 3 matrix. So but for those two matrices, let's say A and B, they do this convolution operation. So what like for and then what they do is they'll shift this pixel to a next slide. Okay, so this will be your second shift. Okay, and that will create a new matrix here. Write this A1, this is A2, let's say. And for that matrix again, it will create some value and you will get one value. Okay, so this will be single value, and this again with B, and it will give one value. Similarly, again one more shift, and then they will do like one more operation to that. Okay, so this way actually like convolution operation happens like between entire image. Okay, so once this is done till here, let's say like after one point you came till here. Okay, so and then it will shift here. Let me draw it with a different color. So it will now shift here and do for this. Okay, and similarly the same way. So like that, likewise what it will do is we can define how much this should shift and how much it should like this way, how much it should shift. Like you can have it like immediate row, or maybe you can skip few rows and then give it. Okay, we'll discuss about that as well. So similarly, let us assume now like it will go for a single shift at a time, and like it will process entire image, and it will create a new kind of matrix, like which will be of shape. Again, like we'll decide how the shape looks like and all. It again depends on our filters, like we call these as filters. Okay, this is filter. So and we can apply multiple number of filters as well, like not just one. Now let's see with an example like animation, like how this actually looks like. So here if you can see, this is very nice explanation of like how this how it will work. So this X is an image, like as we know, like it is a 3-layer network, because like you have RGB layers, right? So this is like R layer, this is B, and this is G. Like let's take it as a 3-dimensional object of 7 by 7 each. Okay, so your input layer, like here input is like 7 cross 7 cross 3. Okay, so what will happen is, so here are the filters. Okay, so these are like treat it as some number, like these are just randomly given. So this is one filter, and similarly this is one more filter. Okay, so this filter is again a 3 by 3 filter. So because like this is 3 by 3, so this is also a 3 by 3. So like it is again like separated by layers. So it means what will happen is, you can see the first layer happens here, second layer to the second layer, third layer to the third layer. Okay, it's a kind of a box. You can see, instead of a 2D, visualize it as a 3D box, and you have a 3D box moving around. So but here the animation contains a single layer at a time. We can first, well, let's first see a 2D of only the first one, and then we can go further. Okay, so you can see here what is happening. So so here what is happening is, you can see this blue marker. So toggle, I have paused it. So you can see this first filter is like initially aligned with this first square, right? So and then what is happening is, like it will do the calculation. So the first to first element, second to second element, like that. It will calculate the entire this matrix to this matrix. It's not a direct matrix multiplication, it is an element wise multiplication. Okay, so only first value to first value, second value to second value, like that. So and it will sum all those values. So here if you see, what you can see is most of them are zeros. If you want to count, it will be these last two elements only which were non-zero here and there. So okay, so which will be like 1 into -1, which is -1 plus 2, -2 plus 1. So 2 minus 1 is like 1, right? So you have 1 as a value, and to this we are adding a bias, just like how we use it in dense layer, how we would add bias. Similarly, we also add a bias term here. So here 1 and plus 1, it should be 2. Okay. Okay. So here, sorry, then I did some wrong calculation, I guess. So somewhere, usually what happens is, like you have a value, and then that you do this multiplication, and finally the value what you get here, right? So and plus bias, it will add, and you will have the value here. Okay, and similarly, if you toggle a moment, you can see the next step. So it has jumped to two rows, two columns here, and then again it will do a calculation from this to this, and what value you get, it will be the second term. Okay, and similarly one more. Let me do it quickly. Okay, again I pause. See, like it will again do for this, and this will be a third term, right? So, but here in this example, what they are doing is they are skipping like one row. If you can see, like initial one is this, these three, and second one, instead of from here, like this, like they were taking from here to here. Okay, and third one is like again it is skipping one more column and they are going for here to here. We'll discuss like what actually it is. So you got a third one, right? Similarly, they also like do it for, again they're skipping one more row, and they are marking like values for this, right? You can see the animation now. So what actually they are doing is, instead of taking a single value at a time, they are calculating some value for a box, right? So it will actually take into account of a nearby pixels as well. So this will actually retain the temporal information, like this spatial information, what you get like side by side, like if something is there, so that information what were in its neighborhood, that information is retained. So that is the main advantage of using like convolution. So this is where it will happen. Okay, similarly for the second layer, similarly for the third layer. Okay, so this is how it is done, and this is one filter. Okay, so for each one filter you got one 3 by 3 matrix. So similarly you can have a second filter here. So it is your wish, like you just like it, you are randomly generating the matrix, right, for filters. Second, again you keep like one more filter if you want, and then do the same thing, you'll get one more matrix here. Okay, this way. So likewise, in how much you want, like those many times you can get it. So if you can observe here, your input is like 7 cross 7 cross 3, and your filter size is 3, means like 3 cross 3 cross 3. And similarly you use it like two filters. Okay, so first look at it as a single filter, then 7 cross 7 cross 3, and with the filter size 3, it has been reduced to, your output is only one 3 by 3 matrix. Here you have 7 by 7 and filter size 3, you are reducing it to just 3 by 3. So how it is, how like what we are doing is, we are reducing the size of your convolution layer. Your image looks very big earlier, but now what has happened is your size of your image has decreased like considerably, right? From 7 dimension to a, like 7 size to a size of 3. Okay, so that is a kind of a reduction. And as well, like along with this there is one more thing like which it has decreased. So it is a 3 dimensional right here. So and what it has become, even though if it is a 3 dimensional, it just is a single 3 by 3 matrix. So let's do a computation for one of them, like what I have discussed earlier. So let me pause it here. So here how the multiplication happens is, here if you multiply element wise, it is like 1 into -1, please remember -1, 2 into 1 is 2, 2 minus 1 is 1. Okay, this entire multiplication, it is only a 1. And to this again you have to plus the second part as well. So here if you see, here there is -1 into 1, there is a -1. That's it, right? There is nothing else other than this, which is non-zero. So okay, if you roll down, and there it is 2, sorry, +1, here it is -1, and here let's see 2 1, this is 3. Okay, here 1 minus 1 plus 3, so which will be 3, right? So and to this 3 we are adding one bias here, which is 4, right? So that 4 goes here. So your 3-dimensional value, just 3-dimensional image, and by running this filter of 3 by 3, finally you got only a single value here. Okay, so if you have even 4-dimensional, still like it doesn't matter, you will get only single value here. Okay, similarly, like if you it depends only on how many boxes it moves, right? So those many values you will get. So what happens is, your final dimension here does not depend on your previous dimension. Okay, so this is how it will happen. So And one more thing is like what you should see is, and what we have like in the output, you can see it is two 3 by 3 matrix, right? If you see the final dimension here, this has two. What this two is, we are having two filters, right? So filter one, if you do the convolution, you got this first box, first matrix. And similarly, if you do convolution from filter one, filter zero, and now it's filter one, you got this second box. Okay, so number of filters will decide this last value. Okay, so this is how it will happen. Okay, so let's move forward and see like how to calculate and also discuss about like how these actually will work. And this website has given very nice explanation on how the convolution works, and then this one, and this is given by Stanford University. So you can also refer this like for your value. Like we'll anyway come to this part at later point. So this is how like the operation will happen. So for this, like we actually have, okay, if you want the convolution, if you want the value, like you can see it here. So but there is a formula which will be used to calculate in case we want to estimate like how much this output's final output size is there. So there is a formula for that. So before we go to jump on to formula, we can actually let's discuss about each of the concept, because there are few terms which need to be known like for discussing this. Okay, so now we have seen like how actually convolution works, right? So now we have observed like in that animation that like in this window previously, like let's take this like let's take the same example where we use it like 7 by 7, 1 2 3 4 5, okay, 6 and 7. One, two, 5, 6, and one more. Okay, so let's take this 7 by 7 matrix, and like there is this 3 again, like, but for simplicity let's discuss only about a two-dimensional one. Okay, so in this case, like what we are doing is like initially let's take the 3 by 3 filter again. So if a filter says 3 by 3, we are looking at these values, right? So and then in the second, if you can observe, what has happened is for the next moment, instead of doing here in that animation, like what they have done is they have jumped few steps further, like they have skipped something, and they are doing it for this. Okay, so you can see from this that there is some skip, right? So this part has been skipped, like previously it is here, next like instead of being here it has skipped to this part. We call that as striding. Okay, so we'll give the striding value, like how much you want to skip. So and depending on that it will do the skip. Okay, so if it is striding 1, so it will only jump to 1 row. If it is stride 2 and it has jumped to 2 rows, like mean like 2 columns or 2 rows, like 2 values further. Okay, so instead of here, if it is 1, it will come from here. If it is 2, it will come from here. So in this case it is 2. Similarly, what we have is just like how we have striding, we also have the same striding. This is in x-axis. Similarly, you have it in y-axis as well, right? So from here, after like going forward till here, it will jump here, right? So here, from here, instead of here, it has jumped here. Okay, so again, like this is in x direction, this is in y direction, this is in x direction, right? So this concept is called striding. Okay, so how much you want to stride, so that we can give. Similarly to this, like there is one more thing, like pooling. So let's discuss about this concept. Like we use this pooling mainly for like what this pooling is like there are different varieties of pooling. Like let's discuss about max pooling to start with. So what this max pooling will do is, So if you have some value here, okay, let's write some value like 2, -1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, -10, 20. Okay, so this value, what it will do is like we can keep a window again. So if you want a 2 by 2 as a max window, means like what it will do is it will run 2 by 2 times. So 2 by 2 is this, right? And then next it will run again. Let me write it in dark now. So this will be the second 2 by 2. This will be the third 2 by 2. And this will be the fourth 2 by 2. Okay, it will actually create 4 windows finally. And for first output will be like what you have in the first window is 2, -1, 4, 5. So in this, if it is max pooling, what it will do is it will create a number, means like what is a number like which is a maximum in this window, so which is 5. So it will create 5. And similarly, like if you move the window which was -1, 2, 5, 6, if it is max pooling, so what it will do is it will replace it with maximum value over there, okay, which is 6. So you have 5, 6, similarly 9, 20. So your 3 by 3 value has become 2 by 2 by using max pooling. So why we use this max pooling is to reduce the dimensionality without affecting much of the feature. And what will also it will also introduce is a non-linearity. So max function, these functions are non-linear, right? So this will also introduce some non-linearity to the your network. So we prefer these. So to reduce the dimension and to introduce non-linearity. So we anyway do non-linearity introduction by activation function. This is one more. Okay, so these are two important things. So instead of max, you can also do the min pooling. Okay, where you take the minimum value instead of maximum. So in that case, if it is minimum value, let's see. If it is minimum, you will have -1 here. Minimum, it will have again -1. Similarly, for those, again you have metrics like you can calculate, right? So apart from minimum, max, similarly, and you can also have average. This is called average pooling. So you can take an average of these 4 numbers, and that will be your average pooling. Like what it will be is 2 -1, 4, 9. It is 9 plus 2, 11, 9, 10, 10 by 4, which is what is 10 by 4? It's like 2.5. So this is also possible. You can also do it like average pooling. Okay, so these are different kinds of pooling techniques available. What it will do is like after this, usually we do it after doing the convolution. So after you get an output matrix, you will specify like what pooling you want, and depending on that, it will calculate so these values like this. Okay, so what we get is finally this dimensionality reduction. Like actually, when if you take the convolution layer, that will also reduce to some extent depending on your filter size and all. So this is one more way. Okay, and here it will do some more. And again, like it doesn't maybe it will lose, like there is small disadvantage here, which it will lose your information slightly, right? So you have like 2, 4, -1, 5, and but you are only taking 5 in the end. Okay, it means it loses information of these 3. Okay, so this is a slight disadvantage of pooling, but usually in images, the nearby numbers will be very much similar. Okay, so what it will do is instead of taking all those numbers, it will try to take that highest number, so that like it will doesn't lose much of the information anyway. So but anyway, like to be precise, like there will be some amount of information which will be lost. Okay, okay, so let's see like what are the operations which we have seen now is striding and pooling. along with convolution. Okay, so first is convolution. So each convolution layer, like we have a combination of pooling layer in most of the cases, but this is optional again. Okay, so what exactly will be the shape of your layer like that? Let's see that part. And to have it very simpler, instead of W and H as an image, let's take this both sides as W. So it means like it will be similar value, but because like we do it in a singular dimensional manner, like first dimension, and then we go for like y dimension again. So let's take it simpler. Let's keep it like same square image, okay, like 7 by 7 or 100 by 100 or anything. And this stride, so what we are striding with is like, let's say 2 or something. If it is like S, let's take it stride as S. And pooling size, like pooling filter size, okay, how much size you want for pooling. Again, this is again a number, right? So that, if it is P, then what you have as your, and number of filters is one more critical thing. So number of filters, if it is F, so what you have is your way, like if it is W into, if you can also put H, that doesn't matter, but just that we are discussing separately. So if it is this way, so it will form new coordinates, right? Just as we discussed before. So even if it is third dimension as well, so that doesn't matter. So if it is WH into 3-dimensional, so it need not be 3-dimensional, it can be any. So let's say again dimensional D, okay, it means depth. So you have a 3-dimensional value here. So if it is, even though if it is D, so this doesn't matter at all. Okay, so for this what we do, we have a filters, like how many filters, these are filter size we need, and number of filters, both are needed. Okay, so number of filters, let's take it K, and filter size as F. Okay, because like as we seen in the animation, we also depends on, like here we gave it like 3 by 3, right? So instead if you give 2 by 2, so it's only, oh sorry, so if you give only 2 by 2, that will give a different kind of outputs, right? So the size of filter also matters. Okay, so if the size of filter size is F, and we have case filters like that, so your output will be WCWD into K, into this will be, last term will be number of filters. Okay, so and what WC is, so it will be W minus F plus 2P by S plus 1. So this is a formula. This is similar to how we do a convolution, and of what will be the convolution size and all. So usually this will, and then what we are doing is we are doing a pooling, right? So the pooling technique here, and then this is a stride. So because if you skip more numbers here, okay, instead of here, from here if you jump here, so that will reduce the dimension by a lot, right? So that is here, so that will be in a denominator position. It will just, if you increase stride from 1 to 2, it will reduce your dimension to half nearly. We are just having, it will be a newer dimension, right? So this newer dimension I'm just giving as output as like WC and WD, like, because this is output from convolution layer, right? So just to signify, I kept it C. Okay, it can be anything output. I am keep it O as well. So it can be anything, just to give it as a normal convention, like because it is related to convolution layer. So I did it this way. Okay. So okay. So this is for WC, and similarly you have H as well. HC will be H minus F plus 2P by S plus 1. So and you can this is how like it will be done. Okay, and finally your dimension from D, it will change to K, and so it means you can increase the depth as well, right? So previously, let's say 7 by 7 into, you have 3-dimension, right? Because of RGB. Okay, you have 3-dimension. This, like in case if I do a convolution with 3 by 3 into 100 filters, means like 100 filters. These are not 3 by 3. So 3 cross 3 cross 3 is your filter size, and you have 100 filters here. What will happen is, let's say your stride is like 2 and there is no pooling. So pooling is 1, let's say. So then what it will do is, it means like no pooling. So what it will do is, your output size will be 3 cross 3. I'm trying to relate like in the same example of what is shown in the animation. So this is 3 by 3, but because your filters are 100 here, so what will happen is your depth will increase. So this will be 100 dimension. So 3 cross 3 cross 100. From just 7 cross 7 cross 3, it has like increased enormously. Like we are increasing the depth of the layer here. Okay, so this happens by this is decided by like defining like how many filters you have. Okay, so this is how it is done. And to calculate, so you can use something like this. So if you see 7 is a W, right? W, H and D, and here you have S value and P value here. 7 minus filter size is 3, let's say, and stride is 2. So and plus 1, and what will happen is 4 by 2 is 2 plus 1 is 3. So which means like here P is 0. Okay, so and similarly for the second case as well. So you have 3 cross 3 as your output, and there are hundreds of filters like this. So you have 100. So this is how it is done. Okay, so we calculate this convolution layer like this way. And now let's see how it is actually there in while implementing. Okay, so what they do is, so let's say you have an image, so of WH into 3. So they will add this convolution layer, and we specify. So just like how we have mentioned, right? So while implementation as well, we do the specification like this. What we'll do is, like we have to define number of filters, number of size, filter size, this one, and then stride. So if you define these values and pooling, if you define these values, so there is an implementation available in TensorFlow, which will automatically do this operation of convolution and then finally give you an output. Okay, so your output here, it is W cross 3. So it will become new values, right? W cross, it's cross K. K is number of filters. This is filter size F, S and P. Okay, and similarly what you can do is, you can have a stack of layers. Like here we added only one layer, right? Similarly you can add one more convolution layer, similarly one more. Like this you can have so many convolution layers. So from here, this is your input. Now previously here W cross H cross 3 is your input, right? So now this is input to a new convolution layer, and from this it will do a calculation, and again you can set number of filters and all, and it will give you again a new dimension. So again new class. Okay, similarly like this will happen, and finally what you do is, at end, like after few inputs, you add a dense layer. So let's say this is okay, this from here you give a final dense layer. Okay, so you flatten this layer, means like we know the flattening, right? So it means it will add like all those, like make it as a single long vector. Okay, so we do this, and finally add like dense layer if you want. And to this dense layers, finally we give like output prediction classes. Like we can have activation functions to this, and then maybe sigmoid, your class 1, class 0, class 1, class 2. So like this we can define our prediction, just like our neural networks how we do, right? So and finally do a prediction. Maybe if it is a classification like this, if it is a regression, again it can be a continuous value, right? So that way we can do. So, and to each of this convolution layer, again, you can keep an activation function. Instead of giving it like this, you can keep an activation function. Again, like ReLU, like Sigmoid, the same activation functions what we have discussed, right? The same you can keep it here, here as well, and here. If after every layer, you can keep this and finally get an output. Okay, so this is how usually convolutional neural networks will be. Okay, so let's see. So you can see here, like let me jump on to the same one, like which we have seen, like same like page which we have seen earlier. So you can see this is one example of such, okay, convolution neural network. So here they are passing an image of car, okay, and they are passing it to a convolution layer, and you can see the visualization of how after convolution what your like car will be, like how the image of each of your convolution layer will be. Like you can see it from here, right? You can, if you can, are you able to see, or should I zoom it a little?
Yeah, I think zoom would be better.
Right, okay, so let me zoom here. So let me also do one more thing. So let me open it with the paint. Maybe I can zoom it properly over there. So you can see here. So you can see there are cars, right? So here, so there is a car. Like sometimes there is a car this way. Sometimes it is something different way. So all these values you actually get because you randomly initialize your filters, and it will slowly learn anyway. So this is after training. Okay. So each filter will do a different task here. So one will actually find out if there is an object here. So it will what is in so what it is in like a brighter portion is those activation functions are one, and like where it is in darker, those activation functions did not fire. Okay, so like if you can see in the second stage, it is something different. So here each of the filter will do a different task. It will try to extract a different feature from your image. Okay, one may extract like something, you can go further, like then it will be easy to see. So you can see if you go further here. So this looks clumsy, but actually even actual values will also look like this. So one will actually find out if there is any object at this level. One will find out if there is any curved portion. So one will find out if there is any wheels, round things. One will find out if there is any curve. So like that, each filter will do a different way. Okay, so that will be done. Usually we don't know it, like we actually randomly initialize all the filters. So it will adopt like depending on our loss function, right? So it will the filter weights will get adopted to extract like different kinds of features from your image. So not just image, you can also give some kind of a time series signals, right? So and those, like again, like if you pass it like this, one will try to find out if there is any spike. One will try to find out if there it is flat. One will try to find out if there is oscillation, like a curve going on, something like that. So I just generalize to make it generalized. One each will do a different kind of task. Okay, see, you can see here, this will try to activate at this level if there is any gap between object, and this will try to find out this is a contact portion of wires to your this one, and wheels to your road, and something similar to that. Okay, so each will do a different task. We can do a visualization here. So this is one example. And finally you can see there are stack of convolution layer, then there is a ReLU activation, convolution layer, ReLU activation, and like this. And there is one more thing which was there, and here they have done the pooling. Okay, so where they reduce the dimension, and again they do the same. And finally what they are doing is like they are doing keeping a fully connected layer, which is nothing but a dense layer. So and finally you get an output like by keeping like 5 outputs here. They are trying to predict car, trunk, airplane, like ship and horse. And finally, depending on your activations in the last layer, like which has been calculated from these things, finally we'll be getting what is an output. Okay, so this is how actually it will happen. and the like filters at lower level. Okay, so as we see so there are multiple convolution layers. So I'm not writing the ReLU layers, let me write only the convolution layers. We assume that like ReLU and activation function layer and as well as pooling layers will be there within. So you have convolution layers, right? So various layers. Let's take a dense layer in the end, which is fully converted layer. Like some people, some terminology calls it like fully connected, which means like each every unit is being connected to each and every unit in this layer, and with max or something. Okay, you get an output. Okay, softmax layer. So this is how like we have it. And to this, what we do is like we pass an image, right? So what we are trying to do here is, so it will extract some features here. So features 1, features 2, features 3, so on, like it will increase, right? So what actually it happens is this will try to extract high level features and slowly low level features. So the complexity of your features, like it will be different. This will try to extract if there is an object here. Okay, it will try to extract there is any object towards the end, something like this. It will try to do much more deeper. Okay, there's some more complexity. They will try to, is it a curved object or is it a straight line object, something like this. And it will do how which like something like that. Okay, like I just can't dig to very low level. So what it'll try to do is only high level iteration. It will start to have in the feature 1, like in the starting layers. And as you go on more, it will be a different kind of complexity. Okay, so the complexity will be different. And finally, what you get is output based on your final layer, like which will lead to use like this layer. It will finally define like how many output classes you have. So depending on that, you can detect if what is that. Okay, so basically this example is a kind of an image classification example, what we have showed over there. So it is image classification, where you have to classify between different images. Like this image, what this image is, like what this image is, you have to tag it to some class. So this is an image classification example. Similarly, we can discuss about more different, like there is object detection, where you have to detect exactly where the object look like and where locates in that image, and also specify what is this, that object. So that is called, where what we do is we have to detect the location of object. Also along with that, like what we also do is detect the location of object as well as classify that object. So previously we just like given an image here, and that image you are classifying like is it in the previous example it is a car, is a horse, is a truck or something like that, right? So like that. And but we are not localizing where exactly car look like. But there is one more concept called object detection. So here what they do is they will detect, let's say this same example where we are discussing about car, right? So here we also detect if where the, let me draw a box here. So it will also detect where the object lies in the image, and also classify what that object is. So okay, so here what it will give is like it will give two outputs. It will give one bounding box, and it will also classify this is a car. Okay, so what bounding box is like you have coordinates x, y, w, h, means like the point. And like let's see it in the next class. Like as of now, let's see like x, y, w, h is your coordinates, which it will represent the bounding box. As well as it will also classify what class it is. It belongs to a car. And in case if there is a pedestrian here, okay, so it will again make a box and say it, this is a pedestrian, and these are the bounding boxes x, y, w, h. It will give you these coordinates as well. So this is how your final function which should look like. So we'll discuss about that as well in the next classes. Okay, so this is about a convolution neural networks. So